So I get it. Feel like we're at a time where we are purging ourselves of anything and everything toxic. And I'm being requested that I address things that I've done in my past. I also get a lot of tweets from people that are saying, like, we love you, you unproblematic queen, which always makes me uncomfortable because I'm a person. Those of you that are familiar with how long I've been on the internet know that that's not true, that I've definitely done things in the past that weren't great, and I'm not completely unproblematic. And I've tried my best to grow up and to be a better person. And first and foremost, I want everyone to know that I've always been a two-way street, and that any time that you criticize me and tell me that you would like me to do better or to do something differently, that I always try to do that. And I try to make fun content, inclusive content, things that don't offend people or upset people. And that's kind of where I am. There's a couple things that people want me to address and apologize for, and I'm happy to do that, because what I want from the people that I support and that I like is to have accountability and to know that I am supporting someone whose morals and values align with my own. And yeah, there's things in my past I'm not proud of. And I'm getting a lot of tweets from people saying, why have you privated all these old videos? And I've spent a lot of the last few days privating almost all of my old content. And I'm sorry if any of that holds any nostalgia for you, but I'm literally not trying to put out negative things into the world. I think there was a time when having all of my old content exist on the internet showed how much I have grown up as a person, which I'm very proud of. And I think now it's hard for that content to exist at all, because I think people watch it and don't bother to look at when it was posted or, care about what path it took to get to where I am. It offends them now.
We are supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. We are proud of people out there using their voice and protesting. And this is a big moment in our history, and it's a moment of change, and it's a moment of movement. There's a big movement happening right now. And in light of all of that, we just felt like we couldn't, do our normal podcast. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that we're speaking as people. Like, there's no script, or we did not try and plan anything to say. So if we say anything that's not 100% perfect, just know that it's coming straight from our heads and our hearts. And we do try our best to stay somewhat out of politics. But this, to me, is not a political issue. This is a human rights issue. And this is a systematic oppression, brutality against African Americans in our country. And there have been riots for years. There has been demand for change for years. And we have truly reached a boiling point. And for us to, I think Julian and I have sat here through many years of we have a conversation about what feels appropriate, depending on what's going on in the world. And sometimes we sit and have a discussion about it, because I think that's what people in our audience would like. And maybe some of you would want that right now. But to sit here and, sort of read a sponsor and have a normal podcast just feels a little inappropriate at the moment. And we want to act on that.
You're using your voice, and you're making me proud. And I want you to know, whether you're out in the streets protesting, or you're using your voice online, or you're talking to your friends and family, that this is truly it's a tipping point in our country. And you are either, you know, you are either on the side of human rights and on the side of black people who have been constantly oppressed and mistreated by a systematic, faulty government for years and years and years and years and years, tons and tons of times, over and over, or you're on the wrong side of history. And I want you to know that we appreciate you guys using your voice, and we're trying within what we can do, what we have the ability to do to be vocal as well.
Why I was taking it down, and there's still a lot of people that are like very confused as to what happened. And first of all, I didn't sleep Wednesday through Thursday because this was like, it was completely just like destroyed. I was like sobbing all day on Thursday. I fell asleep last night at like 8 p.m. or something, and just woke up. So I'm laying in bed this morning and I'm just like, how can I make this a teachable moment, a fixable moment where I can show people my mistakes so that people don't do it again, instead of just taking it down. Like, I'd like to at least be like making this into something where people can have a better idea of what to do in the future and what not to do in the future, because I made a mistake and it was my fault and I feel terrible for it. And I know a lot of you, at least that saw the video when it was up, and even now are like, this is ridiculous. And I totally understand that attitude. And then we get hot water world. Then we can send people to colonize it and fill it with marine life. And then they live in water world and everyone's a pescatarian. And when you look up in the sky, you can see rings. Tight. If everybody donated the ends of their loaves of bread every week, we could feed a lot of hungry people, especially if they're hungry for shitty sandwiches. A lot of states will fine you if you don't go to jury duty. But if we also fine people for not voting, I feel like we could make enough money to build a land bridge between North America and Greenland, and then we could put a bunch of tolls on that road, and we could generate enough income to start terraforming Saturn. If bees are endangered, we should elect one person in each community to be a beekeeper. Then, once the bee population goes up, don't be surprised if the human population goes down from bee stings. You asked for this. Fake news is all over Facebook, and people are concerned. Maybe a simple solution is, don't get your news from Facebook. This product has the wrong name. It should be called a, give it a rest already, they're not coming. Vine is dead, but it doesn't have to be. Here's a list of billionaires I think we should convince to keep Vine alive. Or we should see if they'd be willing to take Tom from MySpace as a blood sacrifice, because I know what billionaires want, and it's Tom. Outside of sharing your life on YouTube, are there any at all? I would say by far that the pros far outweigh the cons in so many ways. If I had to choose one of the biggest downsides, I would say that because this is a democratized platform and anyone can do it, anyone can share and say anything that they want, people genuinely really think that they know who I am or know me personally. Oh, she's sort of just like my internet friend that I know, and like if we met each other, like I can come to her house, because it seems like that all the time because it is so personal. So I'd say one of the biggest downsides is when people don't quite make that connection, that like you might know me on the internet, but I don't know who you are. So that line of like invasion gets crossed sometimes, if that makes sense. It's just it's a weird new thing. But I'd say 99% of the time people are incredibly respectful and kind to me in person. I have no complaints. You know, that 1%, man, y'all are fucked up. Y'all need Jesus. How did you go from ranting all the time to trolling? I've seen your videos saying the rants were going to stop, but I want to know how you came about that change in your life. It was very impressive to see you change so drastically for your own happiness. I think I was just sort of like an angry person for a while. You know, like when you're in middle school or something, and like if your friend doesn't talk to you or something very small happens, it seems like the world is ending. Well, in my early 20s, I would say it was like that. Like things would be frustrating or aggravating, but on an exponential scale in my mind. They seemed so much worse than they were. I would be so much more angry than you could be. I mean, honestly, I don't have much to complain about. People do fucked up shit sometimes, but it just don't, it doesn't serve me to sit around and be pissed off about it. And I just wanted to change my mindset and what I was choosing to focus my energy on and make sure that it was something that was serving me. And trolling serves me because it makes me laugh and it makes me happy. So why be angry when you could just, troll the fuck out of it? A lot of the things that really piss me off now are not appropriate to just spew on the internet, if you know what I'm saying. Imagine you're sitting under a tree, because that's how much shade I just threw. I think that's what being an adult is. Buying things that you hate, and also having to shut your mouth, all the time, and bottle it all on the inside and